Hello my friends, so recently I made a video called Top 5 Useless DBD Killers, and so many of you got angry because, spoiler alert, Freddy wasn't on my list.
Freddy is so useless. Why isn't he on this list? People who main Freddy in 2024 should be locked behind bars in the highest security Nigerian prison with other Freddy. I can't think of anything in his kit that another killer doesn't do better. Freddy gives good blowjobs. Freddy is my favorite child predator. But he is useless in this game because there are no kids.
Police! A little farther, bro. A little more. Okay, good, you're good.
The reason why I didn't put this boy on my useless killer tier list is that useless doesn't mean weak. While I understand that Freddy is one of the weakest killers in Dead by Daylight, this doesn't change the fact that he is very iconic. Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the most successful horror movies of all time, and don't tell me that if this character was completely removed from Dead by Daylight, you just wouldn't care. When I was making the most useless killer tier list, I was thinking about some of the most unnecessary and forgotten killers today, but I understand that some of you might get confused and you might mistake a weak killer for a useless killer, which are two different things. So that's why I'm making this video, and in this video I want to give you my top 5 weakest killers in Dead by Daylight. And of course this list is gonna be subjective. Just take a look at this killer tier list which I made 1 year ago, and don't tell me that you agree with me, because 1 year ago I thought that Skull Merchant is one of the top 3 weakest killers in Dead by Daylight. I thought that Michael Myers and the pig are in the middle of the tier list, and Bubba is worse than Michael Myers, and these are some very controversial takes, but I have to tell you that every single person thinks differently, and every single person has a right to have a different opinion. So you shouldn't judge me on that, and my opinion has changed since that time. And keep in mind, I have 3000 hours in Dead by Daylight, and I'm trying not to be influenced by bigger influencers like Otzdarwa, for example. I have my own opinion, and you are free to disagree. Leave a comment, even if you think that my takes on this game suck big black Nigerian cock. But if you don't want to suck a big black Nigerian penis, then make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, let me put my gameplay of Freddy in the background. And with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. The top 5 weakest killers in DBD. I have to tell you that it was very difficult to make this tier list because these days most killers are pretty balanced and pretty strong. So it was hard to come up with the killer in the 5th place. I was thinking between Doctor, Clown, or Sadako, and I decided to go with the Clown because I am very inexperienced with Sadako and I am not up to date with her latest update. So if I apply my knowledge about the old version of Sadako, which in my opinion was shit and she was extremely weak, you might roast me because I don't know, maybe Sadako is strong now. In my opinion, in terms of his strength, the Doctor is very close to the Clown. Both killers are great when it comes to chases, but in my opinion the Doctor is a little bit better since he has these crazy impossible skill check builds, especially effective when it comes to playing against beginners. And the Clown, well, he has his bottles.
I donate!
And these bottles are very effective when it comes to chases. They are very annoying from the survivor's perspective, but honestly, other than his bottles, he doesn't really have anything else going for his power. He cannot teleport, he cannot really apply much of a map pressure. Yes, he can use his bottles for a temporary haste effect, but let's be fair, that doesn't really help this killer much, and he has to find survivors to actually make use of his power, which on larger maps maps is a little bit of a problem. And hey, you can play as the clown and really enjoy it. Actually, I think that every single killer on this list is playable and even enjoyable, but sometimes I wish that the clown's power had more in it. So I bring Devour Hope with the clown, and if survivors find my Hex Totem and cleanse it, then rest in peace my perk slot. I think that perks like Hex Devour Hope, Surge, Hex Haunted Ground and Corrupt Intervention can make this killer pretty strong, but let's be fair, the clown shouldn't rely on these perks to be strong. In the 4th place we have the pig. To be honest, I didn't really want to put the pig on this list since I really enjoy playing with the pig. Recently she got buffed a little bit and now she crouches a little bit faster, and it's very surprising that developers actually buffed the pig, but still the pig doesn't feel fast enough when she crouches. She is arguably the worst stealthy killer in Dead by Daylight. She has absolutely zero map pressure. The only pressure that she can apply to survivors is to put traps on their heads, but even after successfully putting a trap on a survivor's head, the pig has to go all over the map from one jigsaw box to another jigsaw box to look for that survivor. And let's be fair, most of the time the traps, they don't really kill survivors. I think that the traps, they need to apply much more pressure on survivors. I think that they have to be much more dangerous, and it wouldn't break the game. In fact, it would make the pig's gameplay much more exciting, and it would be much more interesting to face the pig, because as of right now I think that the main component of the pig's power is her ambush attack. It's great, I really like her ambush attack, but other than that she is pretty much a mediocre killer, and she's fun to play time to time. I really enjoy playing as the pig, but there are so many other killers you should be playing instead. In the 3rd place we have Michael Myers, and Michael Myers is one of the better stealthy killers in the game. He can really cause some jump scares, but he is a very imbalanced killer. Michael Myers has arguably some of the best and the weirdest add-ons in the entire game, and these add-ons can literally make Michael Myers stronger than the nurse, if you asked me. I know it's very controversial and feel free to disagree, but yeah, it is very annoying, especially when I play Survivor in the Larry's map against Michael Myers who uses Tombstone add-on. It feels very unfair. However, you take these strong add-ons out of his hands and he isn't a great killer. First of all, his power is extremely limited, and what I mean by that is that you need to stalk survivors to level it up, which sounds cool, but by the time you are in the tier 3, survivors can possibly pop 2 generators already. And leveling up to the tier 3 feels extremely powerful. Your lunge gets increased, every single survivor on the map gets exposed, and you can vault windows much faster than without it. However, the problem is that it lasts for a very limited amount of time, and then it discharges, and then you have to stalk survivors again. And survivors to Michael Myers, they are a resource, so if you stalk a specific survivor for too long, then you won't be able to gain any more power out of stalking that survivor. And it happens that sometimes you stalk every single survivor and you level up to tier 3 like 5 times in a match, and you still need to kill 4 survivors, but you cannot level up again because you already drained all of the power from every single survivor, and then basically you become an M1 killer. And I think that is the biggest problem with Michael Myers. Other than these problems that I listed, Michael Myers feels extremely good to play as, and I actually mained Michael Myers for a duration of time. I'm really proud to tell my friends that Michael Myers is in this game, so I really hope that someday Michael Myers will get buffed. Okay, now this is gonna get very controversial, but in the 2nd place I have Freddy. And I know that there are people who will not be able to understand me, but I find Freddy fun to play, even in his current state. It's such a shame that Freddy has such a unique thing called the dream world, and he is very unique based on that alone, but his power is just so much weaker than any other killer's power that has the same elements incorporated. Freddy is able to deny loops and teleport, and that's exactly what the Unknown does, but the Unknown does it much better than Freddy. I remember that developers decided to rework Freddy, and then Freddy became extremely strong for a second, and for some reason developers decided to completely nerf him to oblivion, and now he is in this playable and, in my opinion, fun but extremely weak state, especially when it comes to playing against more experienced players. I think that if you don't find it fun to play Freddy, or if you're struggling to win your games as Freddy, you should try to take this add-on which switches the dream snares for dream pallets, and in my opinion dream pallets are much stronger and more fun than dream snares. Also, Freddy has a pretty good teleportation power, so you should take Thrilling Tremors and pop Goes the Weasel with you. These perks will make it so after hooking a survivor, you will know which gen is being repaired by other survivors, then you teleport to that generator and then you damage that generator with your pop Goes the Weasel. I think this tactic is very strong and it works, and it made my games feel pretty fun to play. And just like you can guess, I don't like dream snares whatsoever. I also think that dream pallets can be very helpful, but it really depends on how lucky you are, and I think that Freddy has too long of a cooldown when it comes to his teleportation. It should be drastically reduced. But personally, I do not hate Freddy, even in his current state. I think that the worst killer in Dead by Daylight is the Trapper, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I won't talk too much about this killer, but the Trapper is just an outdated killer with a very simple power. He's able to carry some traps and place them. He has an extreme RNG factor in his power, which means that playing against better survivors that are higher on the MMR level will be extremely hard for most Trapper players, and especially if you play on maps that have no grass, like RPD or Forsaken Boneyard for example. The Trapper will struggle on these maps because these traps, they really pop out and it's very easy to notice them. Not to mention that you only have a couple traps and then you need to go across the map collecting these traps, wasting your time to refuel your mediocre power at best. The Trapper is a very cool character. He will always be the main face of Dead by Daylight. It is just sad that developers don't make drastic changes for this killer, because hey, they have to keep this killer up to date with all of the newer killers. Come on, it just feels like this killer is out of date. But Trapper has a cool design, I love the way he looks, and I'm glad that Trapper is in the game. However, let's pray for some changes, which I don't know if they will ever change the Trapper, but it is what it is. In my opinion, he is the weakest killer in Dead by Daylight. And that's how I will end this list. Comment your opinions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I will try to look at all of the comments and I will respond to most of them. See you later. Bye.